Between the light bulb type, how much wattage you need, and all the different color options available, it can be a daunting task to determine which light bulb is the best one for you to buy. But only one of them can be considered the best, and we're going to figure that out today, once and for all. Hello guests, Ritzy Bellhop here, and today we will be discussing the best possible light bulb to buy on a per dollar basis. I want to start out by discussing wattage. Say you went to your local Home Depot looking for a 4-pack of the common A19 style bulbs. You come across these exactly identical items with the difference being the wattage, the price, and the brightness. Which one should you buy? You might think you should simply divide the number of lumens by the price. And since the 100 watts provides the highest number of lumens per dollar, they would be considered the most optimal, right? Wrong. You see, light adheres to the inverse square law as it diffuses through space, meaning that if you increase the brightness by 100%, you only increase the illumination distance by 40%. So, if we adjust the math to instead reflect illumination distance per dollar, we find that the 40 watts are still definitely the worst value, but the 60 watts and the 100 watts are now actually equal when measured in this way. Between the two though, the 60 watt is actually more optimal, because if your space feels like it doesn't have enough light, increasing the brightness of the bulbs you already have will only make the dark spaces in your space feel even darker. Whereas if you use that money on more lights, even if they're not as bright, it will light that space more evenly and effectively. Let me show you what I mean. This is my set using a single light source set at half power, and as you can see, things are not very well lit. You can see all kinds of harsh shadows in the background, including mine. Now watch this. This is my set using that same light source set at 100% power. I've now doubled the amount of light, and yet things aren't much better. In fact, somehow the shadows seem even harsher because there's a bigger difference between the amount of light in the lit areas versus the unlit areas. But look at this. This is my set using two lights, both set at half power, and as you can see, the room seems a lot more well lit. Those shadows are a lot softer now because I've now diversified the light sources versus increasing the intensity of the light source. Now, lights back on. One thing that was interesting about my calculations is that the 60 watt wattage level seemed to be the most optimal for providing the longest illumination distance per dollar, even across different light bulb types, including the BR30s, the PAR30s, and the B11s. Next, let's examine light bulb types, of which there are 4. The original type that Edison invented in his basement, the incandescent bulb. The halogen bulbs, which use gas instead of metal to generate light. Compact fluorescent, which have that curly Q shape, and LED bulbs, the newest to be widely available to consumers. To do a cost analysis comparing the bulbs, I calculated how much it would cost to run a single lamp for 10 years, assuming the following parameters for daily use, electricity cost, and bulb lifespan. For the cost of the bulbs, I used the prices listed on Amazon or Home Depot, whichever one was cheapest. The results of my analysis show the incandescent bulbs perform the worst, having to be replaced 22 times and costing over $80 over the course of the 10 years. The halogen bulbs perform a little bit better, having to be replaced 22 times also and costing just under $80. Compact fluorescents came in second place, having to be replaced only twice and costing about $25. And that leaves LED bulbs to take the title of most optimal, not needing to be replaced at all and costing only about $12 over the course of 10 years. I'd also like to point out that LEDs don't have the other quirky weaknesses that some of the other bulbs have, like incandescents get really hot and compact fluorescents contain harmful mercury vapor. So what about color temperature? Bulbs come in one of 5 different color temperatures, ranging from 2700 Kelvin, which is the most orange and commonly marketed as soft white, to 5000 Kelvin, which is the most blue and commonly marketed as daylight. One thing to note about color temperatures above 3000 Kelvin is that they produce a significant amount of blue light, which is not really something you want to be exposed to in those evening hours when your lights are going to be turned on the most, because blue light suppresses the brain's production of melatonin, a sleep hormone that would normally be produced in those later hours when the body is supposed to be getting ready for bed. So we can already write off those higher color temperatures as suboptimal for contributing to unhealthy sleep patterns. Now, in order to test the remaining color temperatures, I chose to use Home Depot's EcoSmart brand because it was the only brand I could find that offered both the 2700 Kelvin and the 3000 Kelvin color temperatures in a lot of common types of bulbs. By the way, Home Depot markets their 3000 Kelvin bulbs as bright white to help differentiate them from the more ubiquitous 2700 Kelvin soft whites. Now, those soft whites to me felt a little bit too dim and orange, similar to the lighting you would expect to find in a spooky library. But the bright whites, on the other hand, they added a noticeable yet comfortable level of brightness and vibrancy to the room. And so, after extensive research, I am confident in recommending the EcoSmart 60 watt A19s, the 65 watt EcoSmart BR30s, the 60 watt EcoSmart B11s, and the 50 watt EcoSmart PAR 30s. All of course in the bright white variety and all in their dimmable versions. Links in the description below. I've been using these to light my place for years, and I'm sure after you try using them to illuminate yours, you too will find them to be quite optimal. If you'd like to watch some more unsponsored videos on optimal living, you can find them just to the right of the hat rack. And should you ever have need of a ritzy bellhop again, you can summon me by ringing that secret bell that appears after hitting the subscribe button.